morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Great to have you join us this morning.
Good morning, yeah.
You look like you had a fantastic weekend.
I always do.
Yes, I like that. You are very
Absolutely.
deliberate about your enjoyment.
Absolutely. It's very important.
Okay, let's get into the papers this morning. The front page of the Punch newspaper. The Punch is our first paper this morning, and on the front page, workers' compensation. Federal government backtracks as NLC holds ground. NSITF moves to avert strike, says AGF will refund workers, NLC leaders meet. Nigeria deports 42 convicted Chinese.
Let's take that. Yes, you're right. The Punch says federal government backtracks as NLC holds ground. NSITF moves to avert strike, says AGF will refund workers, NLC leaders meet.
Right.
That's the backtrack. Now, APC opposition clash over a by-election result in 12. Let's start with the clash of the by-elections in 12 states.
The by-elections.
I think that's the one that we've had, and so far so good. This weekend must have seemed like a very busy one, especially for the for the by-elections. I don't know if you followed through.
Absolutely.
We saw monies were missing. I just say missing. Monies were found. I beg your pardon. These monies that were found were monies that many persons did not really understand how it got about, because we're in a cashless economy. Even to find 10,000 naira from the bank, we know what it takes. But here we are. We had a situation whereby people found 25 million naira, and then some said it was actually INEC officials that had this money, and we also had that video circulated over the weekend. That's one. Secondly, we also had a situation during the by-elections where they said there was vote buying, heavy vote buying. People were selling their votes for as low as 10,000 naira, 5,000 naira, 15,000 naira, and so on. I'm just trying to paint a whole picture before I pass the conversation over to you.
And also
well.
to talk about Edo elections and the fact that the Beavers was not able to capture people's details as quickly. In fact, the governor of Edo State complained about Beavers as well, saying that it took longer than expected for the Beavers to be able to capture his identity.
Anyway, we've looked at all of this. It's one conversation we're going to have. Let's just bring in our guest, Mr. Habib Aruna, to break into this. The weekend.
Yes, we were all expecting this kind of by-election, and we're all expecting this kind of outcome. In some countries, this kind of election is what they use to test the ground. They call it midterm blues in the US. Midterm blues to test the ground. Look at citizens' preparation, citizens' determination to resize their franchise, and the Electoral Commission's readiness to conduct the free and fair elections. But on Saturday, what we saw, expectedly, complaint here and there, on the part of the political parties, on the part of citizens, that was the voters. All in all, there was desperation on the part of the ruling party, and there was also desperation on the part of the opposition parties. The desperation on the ruling party, on part of the ruling party, because they want to show that they are still popular. Yes, they want to still legitimize what they are doing. They want to show that Nigerians still love what they are doing and love them. That is on the ruling party. Then the opposition party also want to show that they are not just making noise, that people are feeling the pain, and they are ready to vote out the ruling party. Those are the desperations. But then you now see people going up and down out of this desperation to bribe voters, on the part of APC and the part of opposition. When the PDP guys were found with cash in some of the states, what they said was that the money was meant to pay their their agents at the various police stations. That is what they said. And APC too said they are not sharing money to anybody, and that they are just trying to make sure that they have cash with them. So you cannot blame any political party for this. But what I'm concerned about here is that our politicians are still too desperate. They are desperate to win elections. They are desperate to use the police to manipulate the effects and the process and to force electoral officials to do what is against the law.
I mean, a guest joined
us
and said that over 288 thugs, showed up. Thugs moved, they were flogging people. And so what does this portend for 2027?
No, I'm saying that there was desperation in that contest on the part of the ruling party, trying to see that, yes, we are still in charge, trying to increase their support among the people by all means possible. Then the opposition too, trying to show that they are popular and that the coalition is working, that their message is resonating with the people. They are also desperate. So you cannot blame any party for this. You blame Nigerian politicians who are too parasitic, capricious, and want to win by all means. And it's a pity. So why not see a Canadian court telling you that our political parties are terrorist organizations is not far from the truth. Because the parties engaging in violence and if parties engage in killings, and how else do we define terrorism? So when people criticize the Canadian judge, I was just laughing. The woman was saying the right thing. Because the world is no longer a global village, it's not a global neighborhood. People see everything, it's in the tip of a finger on Google. So I think we should be more careful. And it portrays a bad omen for what we see in the next elections. That is, people don't lie endless.
Is there time to
the danger is that, and I keep on insisting consistently, if we don't have a credible, transparent, fair elections, there can never be good governance in Nigeria.
All right.
These people go there, but they're going to get power by all means.
Is there time to still fix things before 2027?
Is there
time to fix things? Everybody.
I'm not too optimistic.
After December 31st.
I've covered this thing for a long more than 8 years. Nigerian politics. And these people are too desperate. You know why they're desperate? They have nothing to offer. Me and you.
Okay.
If elections are free and fair, and you know that you come back and meet me to renew your mandate, you will do the right thing. Because I will look at the cards on the table while I decide to vote for the next election. But they don't give a damn about you. That's why I always say that it is a holy trinity. Holy trinity between the ruling party, the Electoral Commission, and the police. A holy trinity. They collude to ruin our democracy and the process.
Let's talk about a different conversation. I want us the bottom left of the Punch newspaper. NCPC resumes.
We have a call. Sorry, Olive. I think let's just take this call. Shola, good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Are you there?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yes. My name is Elijah Hassan Mohammed in Dabaki. I'm calling from Transport.
All right.
Okay.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I think the by-election is just like a litmus test to the electorate and the Nigerian populace. And let us not mistaken this for the general elections, because election is purely a business. A lot of aspirants will tell you, what am I going to spend social XYZ amount to spend just less than 1 year in office as a member, House of Reps or Senator? Why not I wait for the general election where it will give me full room to exercise my rights as a senator for 4 years? So if you look at what happened, it's just like a mock exam, a mock process, because mostly the incumbent governors in all the states were able to deliver their candidates irrespective of party and what have you. So what I want to urge the president to do is to look at openness in functions of the independence of electoral umpire. As far as I'm concerned, there's no independence in the conduct of our electoral process. It is predetermined by those in power and the government in power. So I think we should try to give hope to the people that whatever you vote for will count, because they may not easily do the electoral reform that we all anticipate. Because if they do the electoral reform, bring in electronic voting, bring in electronic transmission of results, a lot of them will not come back. So it will only be lingering and lingering every day, because it is a red flag for them. So they should do the needful so that Nigerians will have confidence in the process, so that we can produce the right people in the right position. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Okay, I want us to talk about the NCPC resuming Israeli pilgrimage with 50% subsidy. And I bring this up because I don't know if, as a nation that's always complained that we don't have enough money, if this is a way to go for we're looking at subsidizing pilgrimage. And I'm saying this for Christians as well as for Muslims. So the federal government is paying 50%, individuals who pay the remaining 50%. They do this for Israeli subsidy, they do this for the Hajj subsidy as well. As a nation, does it show that we're actually very, very serious people?
Correct.
If we continue to invest in pilgrimage, shouldn't people's religion be their own personal?
That is a very fine, that's a fine question. When you look at the events of last week, when a minister just woke up in the morning and said, "This we should go and sin no more, they may forgive you." One and anti-comfort that you see no more. Now look at what we are reading today in front page of our papers. And what is the business of government?
It's religion.
It's subsidizing pilgrimages to Mecca, to Jordan, Israel, or Egypt. I don't understand. As you say, that just shows that we are a nation of very serious.
And Nigeria is meant to be a secular state.
You say you are poor. You are borrowing money. Gentlemen and lady, you are borrowing money from overseas. Borrow money and paying interest. A large chunk of your money budget to pay interest. Now you are subsidizing money, subsidizing people that are going on pilgrimage. Is it our business? People that go on pilgrimage should be people that are comfortable. People that are they can free themselves.
Pay out of pocket.
It's not a business of government. I've been to Mecca, and unfortunately, interestingly, I went with the federal government. The federal government paid my fee and everything, and even gave me some.
They give me.
I'm a journalist.
Okay, as a journalist.
Even like that, it's not too. Well, it's not too palatable. You do not see people government. It's only what you raise is very important.
I think that a better way.
That we're borrowing money is
and I'm a Christian.
Yes.
And I'm Christian, very Bible-believing Christian, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I would say that as a Christian, if I want to further advance my faith, I should be able to afford it.
Absolutely.
I should be able to say, okay, because God is everywhere. If I don't want to pray in Nigeria and I want to go and experience the birthplace of Jesus and all the likes, if I want to go and experience the Bible, I should be able to fund that.
If you have the resources.
If I have the resources. Now, if as a nation we can afford it, I don't have a problem with that. But as a nation that's constantly complaining about not having enough money, shouldn't we be looking for the places that are excesses, that are maybe not fundamental payments we need to make?
But then what happens to all the employees of the Pilgrim Welfare Board?
No. How do you mean?
Yes.
What in the first instance? What in the first instance? You see, Nigeria is perhaps the only country in the world that government dabbled too much into religious things.
2024, 90 billion naira for Hajj.
Even during Ramadan, you see governors in the north devoting billions of naira.
Kano closed schools for 2 months.
Look at Katsina. They even declare 40-day people not go to school.
Yeah.
And people close by 12 o'clock at noon. So all these things, I don't think they are unnecessary. That shows that we are still very backward in the way we look at things.
Imagine that, and all the other,
very wrong.
All the other people who are, Nigeria is a secular state, like Benga mentioned earlier. When we're doing pilgrimage for Christians and for Muslims, traditional worshippers, they don't go and worship Ifa.
They want to go to Arochukwu.
It's only Lagos, Oyo, and Osun that declare public holiday for Ifa worshippers. They do. In Lagos, in Osun, and Oyo State, they declare Ifa worshippers. But what we are saying that is very important is that government have no business subsidizing people who are traveling out.
If they can do that, they might as well just subsidize transport for those who go to worship on Fridays and Sundays.
The ways, and part of what they would argue would be that this is a way of supporting religious inclusion. I think a better way to support religious inclusion is to ensure that people are able to practice the freedom of their religion without feeling that they're being intimidated by another religion or people who are trying to maybe wipe them out. That should be our focus. But let's move on to, there's one story here I'll probably come back to, but let's move to another paper.
We discuss the issue of labor and federal government. We should discuss it on Friday.
Yes.
Thank God they backtracked.
Yes.
That is the right thing to do.
Yes.
They backtracked. A committee has been set up. NLC has posted a strike. They had plan to go on strike, and that will be a solution in the horizon. And the government has also promised that henceforth they will stop moving money from PENCOM, and pensioners will get their dues at when due.
Okay.
Good development.
Very good development. Thank you for, spotlighting that. Let's now go to the next paper this morning, the Vanguard newspaper. On the front page, how APC swept by elections. Wins 12 seats, Abga 2, PDP 1, NNPP 1. Tinubu fits winners as opposition parties kick. Flawed by election, dress rehearsal for 2027 polls, ADC says. There may be no elections in 2027 if ... PDP says.
What's the ...
If we don't, maybe
I think the
fix.
IPDP is talking about capture. They're saying that
Democracy is under siege.
Yeah.
Okay, we also have here 40 missing, 10 rescued in Sokoto boat mishap. Now fund loans will pay fees students are charged. Zelensky rejects territorial concessions as Putin offers security guarantee. NLC strike notice, NSITF admits 50% deductions at the top of the paper. Federal government, Jonathan, ACF celebrate IBB at 84. Insurance industry comes under pressure from rising cost claims. And rice farmers blame price hike on cartel and middlemen.
And the story at the top.
Yes.
FG Jonathan, ACF celebrate
IBB
at 84. Then at the bottom, there's a picture of the former president.
yes.
Jonathan, traveling to Mina to celebrate the birthday of IBB. That is if you scan the surface, you need to realize that IBB is still very much relevant. The way it's been celebrated, relevant. And if you get from the surface, when you see Jonathan visiting the former president, you can deduce easily as something is fishy. Something is fishy. You know, every time you go to
It's an innocent visit.
you go to Mina to celebrate former president who is still very much influential. Jonathan went there and they show the picture. Something is fishy.
Okay, well, time will tell.
If you know, you know.
Time will tell.
Okay.
Exactly.
I want us to, we'll take one final paper, but before then, I want to go back to the Punch newspaper still. I want to take a story there. Court orders full disclosure of 37 billion naira innovation of National Assembly. So in the story it says the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the National Assembly to release documents relating to the 37 billion naira renovation of the National Assembly complex. The court directed the National Assembly to provide header with the proposal, assessment, and procedure used to arrive at the initial 37 billion naira estimate, the actual amount approved and allocated, and the amount so far disbursed for renovation. That's a step in the right direction, I believe.
The contract was actually awarded by Lawan and Bajabi Amela. And awarded to Vision Scape or something. That was contention during the bidding. And Baga and all the rest were involved. But the National Assembly, led by Lawan, eventually settled for the Bishop's Cape or something, and presently undefinite. And the other one has been, they've been backbiting. Why are you giving such a contract to an unknown, in quote, company? And from the look of things, it appears that the company that they gave it to have been doing a good job. They've been doing a good job. So that is the funny thing. So I think the court action, if possible, was initiated by one of the aggrieved conductors. But there's nothing bad in Nigerians knowing how much was budgeted, how the process went, who got it, and how much is being spent now to renovate the National Assembly.
Wow. Okay. I think one more story here on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. You can see the picture of Abika Dabiri. It says 2 Nigerians die of suspected poisoning in Libya. Their names have been simply identified as Collins and Osas. They died in Tripoli, the capital of Libya, under circumstances suspected to be linked to poison. It was gathered that they traveled to Tripoli on July 20th with a friend whose identity is yet unknown, and sources privy to the incident said that after spending some days there, the friend advised the 2 of them to return with him to Misrata. They, however, allegedly refused, insisting they wanted to stay longer. One of the sources, who is also related to the late Collins, told the Punch newspaper that the friend was said to have left them behind, returned alone to Misrata, And according to him, he later received a call that the 2 companions had died after allegedly being poisoned. This is
Very
really
sad.
sad.
Why you just oppose this story we just read to the one we read earlier of NCPC subsidizing pilgrimage? Now realize that you need to have a problem in Nigeria. If you have so much money with you, why can't you research to people that are living in Nigeria through hardship, those challenges to travel abroad via Libya and end up in the gulag suffering? There's a video last week that surfaced on the social media. So Nigeria in hundreds, some with their children in the dungeon, suffering in Libya. That is not acceptable. And for a country that finds itself at the side of Africa, steps should be taken to address this kind of things. And if we have enough
people keep going there,
Yes.
even after several examples of badly being treated, they still go and.
But does that not tell you something? At the end of the day, it still tells you in some sense, I don't know if these ones were trying to relocate,
No.
but that they would always, the world is a global village.
Yeah.
You can't stop people from moving. So what we can then ensure is that wherever Nigerians are going to, we get to a point where our reputation is rebuilt to the point that people will be afraid. If you want to touch an American citizen, you would think twice, because you know America would stop at nothing
Absolutely.
to come and protect their citizens. So there should be investigation carried out.
And why should you?
What
Yes.
happened?
Why should you risk your life, pass through that difficulty, hardship, to get to Europe through Libya? Why not? So don't say the global village, at the same time, the condition at home is not good enough. That's why they take that risk to travel abroad and face this hardship. So we can do more by putting our hands in order.
All right, and the final story on the Punch newspaper, you can see the picture there. Nigeria deports 42 convicted Chinese and Philippine cyber criminals. So that they will know that it's not every time when they're talking about 419 that they'll be calling out people that are trying to tarnish our reputation. It is not us. Are you seeing here? They said that on Sunday they began the deportation of 42 out of 192 Chinese and Philippine nationals convicted of cyber terrorism and Ponzi scheme offenses. The first batch of 42 deportees were among the 759 persons arrested during a major raid on December 10, 2024 at Oyinjolayemi. Do you remember?
We remember
Oyinjolayemi
that.
Street VI. They were scheduled to leave Nigeria at 2 p.m. local time. It was gathered that all the convicted foreigners were transferred to the Nigerian Immigration Service, and the deportation process is proceeding in phases. Others will be repatriated on Monday and Tuesday, that's today and tomorrow, until all are returned back to sender, to their home countries.
Fantastic initiative by
There's still
the
many on the EFCC.
They should keep.
The Chinese, the Filipinos are involved in stealing our oil. They are involved in mining our resources illegally, and they are also involved in these cyber criminal activities. So the government should do more. Yeah, this is a good development.
Very great.
They can do more to deal with them. They're everywhere. If you notice them, when I was managing the image of my Oga, they would just come and hack the stories. Hack, yes, on your platforms. They do it, and they're very good at it. So more should be done.
So when we see
Expose
what
them
that EFCC
and
is
prosecute
doing,
them.
you know, as we are criticizing them, we must also applaud them.
EFCC
We
in
think that is-
conjunction with the Nigerian Immigration Service.
Service. We
Yes.
think that this is a fantastic update, that they
it
should
is.
keep combing the nooks and crannies and exposing those people who are involved in Ponzi scheme. If they be Nigerians, let them be made to face the law. If they be foreigners, send them back to the sender.
Let's look at this Nigeria because while we're running out of time, this Nigeria has a very interesting headline there. It says 4 trillion power bailout. CSOs demand transparency. SMEs, households lament poor services by discos amid high tariffs. There's a 4 trillion power bailout that's coming. Cybercrime, Nigeria deports 42. That's what Olive just took now. 42 foreign convicts, 150 more await exit. NIDCOM rescued Nigerian workers alleged sexual abuse by Chinese employers in Central African Republic. There were videos and footage circulating over the weekend where they were crying and talking, and those who had repatriated. By-elections, APC sweeps 12 out of 16 seats. APGA consolidates in Anambra. PDP clings to Oyo. NNPP clinches Kano. That's also what we have. But Nigeria joins $6.4 million international push for Lassa fever vaccine. That's all we have on the front page of this Nigeria. Pretty much a replica of what we've seen in the other papers as well. Nothing too new from there that we can really highlight.
The lead story.
Yes, the lead story is where I want us to go to. 4 trillion naira power bailout. CSOs demand transparency. SMEs, households lament poor services by discos amid high tariffs.
Yes, people are still paying band A yet they don't have
Band
access
A
to
heavily.
I mean, in fairness to...
I've not used my generator at home.
Exactly,
For more than 6 months.
Well, those in the Agungi
Band A.
axis, the light has been terrible.
My other business in Agege, I buy fuel almost every other day.
So it depends
So
on
I think it
location.
depends on the area.
Depends on the area too. So
I've not bought fuel.
I can't complain
Diesel or
about it.
anything for my house and my business in Onora, more than 6-7 months. It's just funny, but I pay a lot of money, but it's worth it. It's still better than buying diesel and buying fuel. But you see, every election period, all of these politicians will campaign on the basis of providing power. Providing power. But at the end of the day, the end of...
After 62 years of independence.
Absolutely. We're expecting Elrufai to manage our ministry, but they did not appoint him. They appointed at the level who is trying his best, but his best is not good enough. So this subsidizing them with 40 naira when we don't have, when most of the houses in Nigeria, most of households, you don't have power. It's not, to me, it's something that should be proud of. You know, they are not saying that they are still subsidizing power, even though we are paying so much. I spend almost 70K in my house.
All right, I think we have a caller.
Every week.
Let's take this call. Let's see. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please go ahead with your comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Osas calling from Port Harcourt.
All right, thank you.
I just want to contribute to the first caller. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead, Osas.
Okay, the first caller that suggested for electronic voting. I think that is the way out for Nigeria electoral system. We need electronic voting, and that is one. Then secondly, about the Canadian court ruled that the APC and the PDP are terrorist organization. Of course, I support it. And if you will ask your sister program, Jaziri, to go to town and do interviews from Nigerians about that, find out if they actually agree. I can tell you 80% of Nigerians will say yes, they see APC and PDP as a terrorist organization. That is my comment. Thank you, and you have a good day.
Thank you very much, Osas, for lending your voice to this as well. He said he agreed to electronic voting.
Yeah.
But the issue is, again, I would ask, if we can get something as basic as using the device to capture people, are we really ready for that? Because there will certainly be technical glitches. Look at something as basic as conducting an exam with JAMB and WAEC. Yet every time we're hearing issues about technical glitches here and there. So what would then happen if we do a global...
purposely to just...
I don't think I think we're not just... But, and the funny thing is that Nigerians are all the best brains. So what is now wrong with all? What is wrong with all? We don't have the structure. We don't have the institutions to get it. And people are not too honest, too trustworthy to manage it. And it's just it.
Okay.
Unfortunate.
I think the last story I want to take from this Nigerian newspaper would be the one of the young men who were rescued by NIDCOM. So kudos to NIDCOM. Thank you very much for going to their video went viral about 3 weeks ago when they were,
I saw that video.
So it says rescued Nigerian workers alleged sexual abuse by Chinese employers in Central African Republic. So it will turn out that they went to there were 12 Nigerian men who were recently rescued, and they were rescued from forced labor in Central African Republic. So there were a number of things that they complained about. They said that their salaries were delayed for about 11 months, and one of them did say that they were sexually abused, homosexually abused by their Chinese employers. Imagine like that level of depravity, like bringing them down. Because for me, not only have you stripped them of their rights to salaries, but you've taken advantage of them sexually. It's the height, really. And I don't know how these men can recover from it. They say that they unfortunately will they're sharing this because they want people to learn from it. And it goes back to the conversation we've had again about the dangers of going abroad, sometimes illegally. I don't know what their process is, but I hear that NIDCOM is making them champions and advocates for people to see about the dangers of going abroad illegally. It's not the grass is not always green on the other side.
At the same time, you see most of these people, most of the Nigerians, are facing this problem. They travel abroad illegally. They reside in those countries illegally. But it will be difficult for Nigerian government to take up that issue with these concerned countries. It's difficult. We have traveled there with legal papers. The government can take it up with the country and try to make sure that the people who are involved in this crime are punished.
So,
but when you travel to those countries illegally,
I feel some type of way about that. I feel some type of way about that because, for example, there are certain things that are illegal in certain countries. In some countries, prostitution is not legal. However, if someone took sexual advantage of a prostitute and raped her based on based off the argument after all, it's not legal. I don't believe that she should not be able to still get justice in that case because, yes, it was illegal or it's illegal in that country, but what was done to her was also wrong. So, I'm hoping that I don't know what justice will mean here, but I'm hoping they can get some form of justice.
I'm sure they're listening to you, and I'm hoping that the agency led by Habib Aruna can take it up and see how they go about it. They will not be maltreated without getting justice.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I have to really go out to these people. I'm hoping that again it's a reminder to us about how we need to fix our nation. I don't know that Nigerians want to go outside and live as second-class citizens. The reason why people want to go out, there are many of us who have said our desire was never to live abroad or has never been to live abroad because you want to be able to travel abroad, enjoy yourself, come back home.
Come back home. There's no place like home.
I realized my palate is very Nigerian when I stayed in an Asian continent for about 17 days and I almost died because I was craving Nigerian soup, peppers.
Always happens. Always happens.
We really are conditioned to live here. We want to stay home.
And the grass is not always necessarily greener on the other side. We should learn to wet our grass here sometimes.
Nigerians are trying to wet their grass, but government should help us to make it easy for us to wet our grass. Government should give us water to use to wet the grass.
Look at all these things that are happening with customs.
Look at 4% FOB.
4% FOB, yes. Yet we are doing 50%.
That means I was looking at it. So a young man now can't just wake up and say he wants to get a car. If you do the calculation, if he earns even 200,000 naira, he will have to save for how many years?
Leave young man, we that have been working since.
Exactly.
How many of us can actually come out today and say we want to change our cars? It's not even, and we've been working for over a decade.
So it's not sometimes
more than all of us
you work really hard
in a better country.
Well,
yeah, I agree with you. On that note, I think on that reflective and sober note, it's time to step out of the studio to work hard so that we can buy a car with 4% FOB.
Probably small 4% FOB.
Thanks.